Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your guy, Marshall Best, alongside with me, my man, Greg Castillo. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Jag Nation? Happy
Jag
to be
Nation,
here alongside
what's going on?
greatness.
Absolutely. Welcome to Jaguar Gibberish. It's the new
Ooh,
Nice.
segment, new segment for the post-game analysis of your Texas A&M San Antonio men's club basketball team. And we are very happy to have with us here today the head coach, Mr. Eric Leung. What's going on, Coach?
What's up, guys? Good morning. Still morning.
coach,
Morning.
Good
coach,
Good
morning.
morning.
coach.
Good morning, Marshall. Greg. Good morning, guys. Appreciate
Morning,
y'all.
Morning.
coach.
Morning, Coach. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's dive right into that OLLU game, man. So the Jaguars ended up falling in this game 86-74 against Our Lady of the Lake. It was a very tough back and forth battle, and the guys just weren't able to pull it out in the end. Coach, give me your overall assessment of the game.
Well, um, I guess right now on the point of where this, we go by a club, but where this developmental team is going. Um, I guess my assessment towards the game is that we're a very young team. We're led by we're led by sophomores, a group of sophomores, really sophomores and freshmen, and I think that gets overlooked. We have one senior on our team, and even though he does have senior leadership and brings that to the table. I think one thing that gets overlooked is that these sophomores are 19 years old, and they're kind of accepting the role that this club is on their back, right? This team is on their back, and I think a lot of times we want to, and you see it in the film, and especially those who watch live or who go and attend in person. I think the one thing that you see is that we have a tendency of not being patient or being too patient, and we haven't yet developed that middle part, that middle area where we're still learning each other. You have guys that are still developing. Yes, we have talent. We have a great amount of talent. And the assessment for the game, really, to me, is just that we're still young, and I take away a lot from that. But it's very exciting, and we just have to learn to use our everything we've learned. Like I always mention to the boys or the young men, that you guys have been playing this game a long time. Some of these guys have been playing since they were 4, 3, 5. And when you get into a game like that, to me, Our Lady of the Lake, I'm not saying, they're, the number one seed, but to us they are. So to us they are, and there was two schools on our schedule. And I'm gonna clarify, this isn't their varsity team, right? Right. This was their JV team. This was their developmental team. And the reason why I clarify that is because, again, we're supposed to be a club, right? So every time when we go into Our Lady of the Lake, we want to ultimately say, when we're going into the game like that, that this is where we want to be. Once the school, whenever they decide, goes to Red River Conference, they're going to jump to that varsity level right away. So we're still under that, like, JV reference right there, under that, So it's like, to us, Our Lady of the Lake is a big game. So going into that game, we want to do what we need to do as far as testing our IQ. Hey, can we run different sets? Can we change defenses? Can we, there's, this school prior to this year, and I'm going to say this year because we are in February. It was actually around this time last year where I accepted the position to kind of take over and see what this school had to offer as far as what this team was about. And I believe in that year we've made so many strides. So going into a game like Our Lady of the Lake, just looking back at it, it's like, hey, did we do our best? What does that mean? First of all, we didn't take care of the ball that well. And that's one thing that we have to pride ourselves on, is taking care of the ball, not throwing the ball away. We understand mistakes are going to happen. You will turn over the ball. I mean, it's not that often nowadays that you go a game without turning it over. So we pretty much didn't do what we wanted to do. We missed a lot of free throws. I think we missed 11. If I'm not mistaken, we missed 11 free throws. And like you said, Marshall,
Yes.
we lost by 12. That says a lot, and especially like the ones that are taking these free throws are sophomores that are, like I said, mentioned earlier, they're putting the team on their back. So they're still learning. So that's my assessment of the game, is that, we want to go into every game ready to win. But like I said, when we schedule these two games, these teams, Our Lady of the Lake and Shriner, Shriner University's JV, that's going into it. It's like, we don't know what to expect. We're here to compete. We're not here taking this lightly. We're not taking it as, hey, we're a club team. Oh, I'm not, I always make the joke like, hey guys, at practice, there's pizza, we have fruit punch and all that stuff. No, it's not a club. It may go under as a title as a club, but we're not there to, sing Mickey Mouse songs. And, we're here to work. If you ask all these guys have the goal of going somewhere else. So my assessment of the game was that we went in there with the idea of what we did. We started off pretty good. We had a lot of mistakes in the beginning. We actually, even though we had mistakes, we were winning for the most part of the first half. And then slowly, I believe that doubt starts to creep in, where we start to second guess ourselves and realize, like, man, we're here. And that's just a display of youth, from what I understand. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn and grow. And I think my assessment of that game was just pretty much, y'all, what everybody saw is just like, hey, we have an idea of where we want to be, but we're not there yet. So yeah, I mean, of course we're supposed to come out and work hard. We're supposed to run every play. We're supposed to do all that. So I mean, to me, those things, I don't feel like I should talk about a little more. We could have did a little better at it. But to me, it comes down to those missed free throws and the turnovers, because most of our turnovers, go back and watch it, they led to points, fast break points. So yeah, you could put it together. Missed free throws, 11. If we would have made them all, we would have lost by 1. And half of those turnovers, majority, 3/4 of those turnovers led to easy fast break layups. And it's like, we youth got us that day, and we just had to overcome that game. But to me, those were the two keys of that game.
Okay. So excuse me. You kind of answered my question of what improvements that needed to be made. It's all good.
Oh, it's fine. Like I said, just let me know. Like, I need to do a better job at that. This is like,
we're all trying to figure this out, man.
Yeah,
we're all here, first episode.
I mean, we could go over that topic too if you want.
Yeah,
improvements. I mean, improvements is that I think one thing I challenged the team was that there's even though we have the one senior and he takes a lot of responsibility, I can't begin to not mention Parabron Hawkins. And the reason why I say this, Parabron isn't the guy that, if he really wanted to, he'd go out and give you 30. He'd give you 25 on a given night. The thing is that I believe he understands that because this is his last semester, he'll be graduating in the spring. I believe he understands that this is his team for the moment, and him right now, because of all the stuff he's been through outside of setting up the team. It's like I don't want to call him our athletic director, but our supervisor, call him our athletic director. It's like he says, he is like, y'all aren't here just to play basketball. And I think last year when I got hired, I made that very clear to everybody. We made that clear. We understand we're not just here to play ball. If that's the case, these guys could go play in any league here and around the city. We're here to represent the school, first of all, represent ourselves, represent our families. And then at the same time, we're students first. And I think the boys understand that. And I think they're learning that as well. So, like I said, going back to Parabron Hawkins, I think what needs to happen is he takes a lot of responsibility. And one thing to your question, what improvements need to be made? We need these young guys to understand that their time is now. I really don't look at this program as like a 4-year program. I don't, because I know these guys have goals to play higher. I don't want to hinder that. I don't want to handicap that in the sense that, like, I don't want to give them any limits. I don't want to go ahead and say, you're playing for me for 4 years. You're playing for me here, that you got to commit yourself. No, I give them a max 2 years. You take the first year and, see how it feels. And then the second year, you're already displaying what you learned. So as far as improvements, I think what we need to improve on is we need these young guys to kind of start becoming that professional, and they need to start coming with that mindset. Not saying that some don't, but we need it from everybody. They're all around the same age. They're all sophomores and freshmen. And, a lot of talent, but I believe that professionalism, we need to improve on our professionalism in the sense that, hey, this is your life right now. These guys aren't Kentucky. These guys aren't Duke. These guys aren't, the University of North Carolina. One of my greatest teachers, one of my mentors, he said, there's a reason why you're here. And he always told me, when I told him I got this job, his name's Coach Dickey, coached at Sam Houston, Hall of Fame coach here in San Antonio, 800 plus wins. And he said, just remind them that they're there playing for a reason. And I think we have to improve our mindset. I think our mindset is to focus like, hey, right now, the university is a very young university. There's no other basketball team on the school. So I don't want to hear it that we're just a club team, because, we represent. This isn't a waste of time. So we need to improve our focus and really lock in and really, decide as individuals like, hey, you're at this crossroads in your life as a student athlete. You're here to understand that this year, these 2 years that you're here for me, it's a make or break year. It's a make or break year for you. Skills, we improve that at practice. I'm not talking anything in regards to putting the ball in the bucket. As you see, we're pretty efficient. We're pretty efficient when we move the ball, when we have that patience. I think I know I was watching the game and I was listening to the commentary, and I know I think there was one series when we had the ball, and Greg was completely correct. He was like, they're moving too fast and they're not really looking to score. They're just moving the ball. And yes, we preach ball movement. We want everybody to touch the ball if they can in 30 seconds. More than likely, though, what I want them to understand is that they have to recognize the difference from a great shot and a good shot. And sometimes that individual has to step up and, make a good shot because you're limited in time. This ain't high school. I can't just hold the ball at half court, and just, wait it out or something. No, you have to, do these little details. And one thing that we pride ourselves on is details. If you were at, I know Marshall was there, but when we went out there to College Station, I think that was like a glimpse. Granted that a couple of guys didn't pass their classes or their grades weren't good to continue playing, but we're out there in College Station. If you ever look at those films, those guys out there, they had like, it was business over there. And if you look at all the games, even the championship one, I think you just saw a better fundamentally detailed team. And because of the background I have, the opportunity to work with the basketball embassy, the opportunity to work with, Our Lady of the Lake too, that's where I came from prior to this job. I mean, that's what we preach a lot. We preach a lot of fundamentally sound details, very technical, about foot positioning, passing, looking at the basket, and just basic basketball anybody could learn. So I think we need to focus and lock in as far as improvements. I think our focus is what needs to be improved. And then, for the boys, they're still young men, to realize that, hey, I'm going to be one of the first, maybe the best first team to play at this university, Texas A&M San Antonio. Like, they have to understand that. I'm not saying when they go Red River Conference, they're going to stink up the joint. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, as we were just talking about the Spurs prior to going live, that rebuilding stage, and yeah, I mean, as far as we've come, I mean, our focus just has to get even better. So as far as improvements, I think that's where we need to improve our focus and our attention to detail and what really makes you. We can't let the hype get to us, right? We have to remember how we got here. So yeah, that's as far as improvements. That's what I believe we need to make and continue to grow on.
Absolutely. Excuse me. Absolutely, Coach. Switching gears, I wanted to know positive things that you also thought about this game as well.
Yeah. Positive things. Well, positive things. So we played 8 players, right? We played 8 players, 8-man rotation for the fact that some of the guys, I've allowed them to sit and watch on the sideline because we're a team. But some of our guys don't have the grades to play. So, I mean, until grades come in and, professors and, tell them otherwise, I mean, the positives is one of our we had tryouts this spring and only one person came to try out, which is fine. Not a lot of people, I think not a lot of people, and this is a positive, not a lot of people want, again, WANT, not a lot of people want to grasp the idea that this is a reality, So one person came to try out, and that person was Mike. I think Mike's 5'5", 5'6". He made this game really fun. Yeah, Michael Sanchez, yes. He made this game really fun because if you watch in the beginning, like within the first half, I think he was 2 for 2, 3 for 3. And this is a guy who's 5'6", and I kid you not, they're number 2. You have his name because he's a good player from Our Lady of the Lake. Yeah,
from Our Lady of the Lake.
Number
his
2
name was Julian Camper.
Yeah, so Julian Camper, man, number 2. If the last game he dropped a 40-piece on us. So last game he dropped a 40-piece on us, and Mike, I'm not saying he shut him down, but he contained him really well. And I thought Mike, being a 5'6" player, taking on a 6'2", 6'2.5" player, not only did he make him work on the offensive side, but he made him work on the defensive side too. So that was really fun about this game. And then at the same time, that I liked that. I enjoyed that. Me and Mike had a conversation when he came out to try out, and that's a personal conversation. But, I really enjoyed seeing him play. He really owned up to the moment. And again, Mike's 19 years old, and it's just to see what somebody can do when the opportunity is given. A lot of people, when they're given an opportunity, they're like, oh, I'm here. I don't need to work hard anymore. No, Mike's he just wants to learn. And I think that was one of the things that that's one of the things that I liked from this last game. He really made the best of his opportunity, and man, he played with 4 fouls that whole second half until I think he fouled out. He finally fouled out, or he was in towards the end of the game. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody knew, but yeah, Julian Camper, he dropped 40 on us a couple games ago. And I mean, I don't know how many points did he have this time. He probably had a 20-piece. Do you have it there?
He ended up with
probably had maybe
15, 2 and 2.
Wow. So I mean, from 40,
a couple of points on that.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I mean, from 40 to 20, we'll just say 20, right? If we're missing a couple, from 40 points to 20. And granted that the first time we played him, I had my best guys guarding him. So then this guy comes in straight off of tryouts in the spring, and he, that's what I like to see though. So that's what I liked about this last game. Other than that, I did like the play from, Raul Saldivar Jr. I think he's another guy that has really come a long way. He's part of the A&M Jag team when they're playing in local leagues. And again, he's really understood his role. There's no ego with that guy. He still has a lot to learn. I think he's just turning 20 this year, but he's still, I think, going into this starting position. If you don't know about Raul, he was like our 8th or 9th guy coming off the bench, but because of grades, like we talked about, with these freshmen, they just came in. I guess they think college is just a walk in the park. Raul came in off the bench and he started, and I think he did really well. I think the favorite part, he didn't make a lot of shots, but his effort, and again, he's willing to learn as a student. And I know he had that one big play that kind of kept the momentum for us up. He got that rebound, our rebound. We shot the ball. It was like at the beginning of the first half. We shot the ball. He got our rebound and he put it back. And you're like, Coach, it's just a rebound and a layup. Well, for those of you that ever played college basketball, you go in there and you tell me how fast that game is. Okay, because you play middle school basketball, that's one speed. You play high school basketball, that's another speed. But if you've ever played college basketball, that it's a completely different speed. So, I mean, yeah, those were a couple of things that I liked. I did like the energy from the bench. I did like the broadcasting crew. That was another big thing. Our commentators, Greg and Marshall, I like that. I thought that was pretty cool having you guys on there. So, I mean, yeah, man, no, there's a lot of things that I did like, and I do appreciate a lot of these things, and I do realize these things. So, yeah, and then, of course, I get to coach against my former boss. So, BJ Alzai, the head coach there for the JV team. And then my good friend, Eric Batoni, who's the assistant. So those things I do like, those things I do enjoy. And it just makes me, I have to bring my best every game. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Sorry, I was muted because I was in the office and the fax machine was going off. I said that's an interesting tidbit, behind the scenes, like you're facing your former, boss. So that definitely gives you a little bit of juice and energy. Yeah, like I'm focused. I want to bring this focus. I want to get this W. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, anytime, and he's not my teacher. He's a teacher of mine, a mentor of mine. But anytime you get to go against your mentor, man, if you're not hyped to do that, if you're not hyped to, I tell my nephew, he's in high school, and his coach that he had at his school as a freshman got another position somewhere. And I said, dude, and they play him in district. And I tell him, I said, you should be hyped for that game. You should be hyped for that. You should always want to show them that you got better. You also paying attention to detail. It's like, okay, the first matchup, okay, I figured you out a little bit. Now, can I come back with something different? If you know me as well as you think you do, now we're playing chess, right? Now we're playing chess. Now I'm doing something different than I did the first time. How can you respond to that? I love coaching basketball. I love basketball. I love any type of competition sport. It's always about challenging yourself to get better. And I mean, even commentating. Sean Elliott didn't start off the way he was. Like I said, we were joking earlier, like he was very biased in the beginning, and now he's kind of like he has to keep it the same. And yeah, I gave the boys the option. I saw the comment here at the bottom. I did give the boys the option. I said, look, I'll let you suit out. I said, you probably won't play because your grades, more than likely you won't play. I said, but we're here to support each other. And a lot of times, and that's another thing too that I like, is that a lot of times it is just us. I'm very happy to have the fans. I'm very grateful for your parents. I'm very appreciative of y'all two guys doing what y'all do. But a lot of times we understand that it's just us out there. When we travel up to, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Maris like, no, don't get into this subject yet. I haven't asked that question. So, no, but yeah,
I definitely love that, Coach, about you and doing that for the players that couldn't play. Definitely, you want to keep people close and the foundation close. You don't want to ever just, okay, you're no use to me anymore. Like, okay, goodbye. Well, that's very awesome of you to do that. They include people and give them the option and let them still, contribute.
Yeah. Well, Greg, it was something, and I'm getting teared up because, one thing every athlete or anybody, you have to understand when there comes a point, like I relate to wrestling. I grew up watching wrestling a lot. My favorite wrestler is Shawn Michaels.
Antonio's finest.
Yeah.
Antonio's finest.
Yeah. Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, The Rock. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So yeah. Woo. So there comes a point in every man, The Undertaker, there comes a point, in every man's career with whatever he's doing, that you have to understand that it might be your last, right? And if you continue to pursue it, and I could be like a lot of these 30-year-olds, in leagues playing, but I don't get the same love from basketball like I used to. I played the best that I could. I made it to college. I didn't go to no high college, but I did. I was the first one in my family to get a scholarship to a college to play basketball. And I mean, your knees after a long time of playing, our science definitely back then wasn't the same as, science now, sports science now. And I think one thing, and I appreciate you complimenting me on that, but the one thing I really wanted to let these guys know in the locker room, especially the ones that didn't play, is that, yeah, they may be freshmen, but again, they're here at this school for a reason. For one, they probably didn't get a scholarship somewhere. Two, their coaches, probably didn't play them a lot and they didn't like that and they transferred. But the fact that we're on this, going into our league play after today and tomorrow's games, and then we have one more against Our Lady of the Lake, I think the message I wanted them to understand was that this isn't a God-given right to play. So that's another thing. Ask those people that quit during tryouts. Ask those people that left after the second day of tryouts. Ask the 5 people that on the first day of tryouts, they were walking up to the court with their bags and their shoes and, their hooping gear. And then they saw what we were doing and they left. Like, I'm telling you, like comedy, then they turned and left. So you have an opportunity. This ain't intramurals. You're not playing against everybody in the school. You're going against Our Lady of the Lake, which they go find kids. You're going against Shiner, which they go recruit kids to play, to play. Mm-hmm. You don't get that experience. And I think, like, again, it's a blinder to a lot of people because they're not. So that's what I wanted those boys on the sideline to grasp, is that this can be over whenever, This can be over, by, what are we in, February, March, April, May? You got 3 months. You got 3 months to decide that if you really love this game and you're going to pass your classes, which right now all you need is a 2.0 to pass. So, I mean, but the thing is, if you take 4 classes, 12 hours, you fail one, there goes your 2.0. So, you know what I mean? So I think, I appreciate the compliment, but and it's just more for those guys. They have to understand if, like I said, again, it goes back to making that decision, Greg. But yeah, thanks, man. No, I appreciate it.
We're definitely trying to build a foundation and build a family. All of us here, all of us on the court, everybody in Jag Nation, we're all trying to build something together and come together. And that's what it's all about in the beginning stages.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
It's funny, Coach, that you mentioned about tryouts. I'm going to share a quick story. So
you're out there, right? You didn't try out, but you're my first year camera, right? You're out there. Yeah, okay. Yes, that's right. Man, it seems long ago. It was just last year.
I know. It might have been early March. 20, or well, I guess that late 2020, early 2021, something like that. But there was a story Coach told us, and especially on these past tryouts, there was a guy who came out, and I was fortunate enough to attend one of the practices. He had played, I think it was JUCO, or it was JUCO, Coach, or D1 in Minnesota.
Oh, you're talking about my coaching buddy?
No. The young man that came out to try out saw the team, was like, "There's no comp out here."
That was just this couple of weeks ago, man. And it's not to throw him under the bus, but
I'm not gonna say any names.
Yeah. He played NAIA.
Yeah, NAIA, excuse me. He played NAIA. He started, said there's no comp out here. Came out against, their squad, our squad.
Had an open run. Had an open run.
Yeah, he had coach had an open run. He couldn't do anything. Anything. So for those that are dedicated and are like, hey, we want to be a part of this, it's no cakewalk. It's not easy. You have to dedicate practice time. Like Coach said, you got to dedicate, taking care of your school. Well, school first, and obviously practice time, working out, getting your proper rest, right? eating right. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into being a collegiate athlete. I mean, you're essentially a collegiate athlete, whether this is a club or on NAIA, NCAA level. You still have to treat this accordingly. So, and
that's the foundation. I think Greg said it, and
yeah.
that's the foundation. And we're not worried about anybody's opinion. We're here, like you said, Greg. We're Jag Nation. We wear it proudly. I wear this sweater every day. As soon as I got hired, I went to the store,
Got my Spurs
bought
ones.
a polo. Yeah, see, I bought a polo as long as it was dry fit. I bought a dry fit polo because I love dry fit. And then I bought my sweater, and every day it's represent. So, yeah, it definitely you could put a title on it. I don't like titles that much, but it does remind us that we have to work for everything, right? It's not given. You work for something, you ultimately earn an opportunity, right? So that's a funny story, man. That wasn't, you were making it sound like that was last year. That was just
it was in this last tryouts.
This last open run. That was pretty funny.
So the last question I have, Coach. Looking ahead, we got a George Gervin tourney going on. Game later today.
Yeah.
And then a game tomorrow. Kind of talk about, looking forward to these two games, getting an opportunity to play the Strength in Motion for the first game, and the second team, I cannot remember the name of them.
On Point Academy from Oklahoma.
Academy.
Yeah. So just I don't it's not really a tournament. It's just we're very fortunate to Coach Mark over there from Strength in Motion. He was referred to me again by my mentor, Coach BJ Alzide from Our Lady of the Lake. We have our little coaching network. And he referred him to me the beginning of this last fall. Was it 2021? Yeah, 2021. So, we developed a great relationship. They really, Strength in Motion really loves what we're trying to do. I think they actually, and they thought of us after a team dropped out in their annual icebreaker challenge. In that one, you have Coastal Bend College, Temple College, Victoria, Concordia, whole lot of prep teams from all over the country, around the state. And then, like I said, Oklahoma and stuff like that. And I think I'm very appreciative again for the relationship these coaches have allowed us to have. When we had that tribute game when my brother passed away, Parabron kind of spoke to the coach, and they did a tribute. They held the ball at half court. They let the timer go out for 5 seconds. So I mean, that's one thing that I really want to let everybody know about these guys. They're very class act. They actually go around the world and play around the world. I know they played somebody in Colorado, and then they had just got done. They have an international team, and I don't know where they played at. It might have been Hawaii or somewhere like that, but they just got done traveling, playing it at that. So I believe tonight's like their last home game of the season. So we have the honor to being that team that they chose. They messaged me and they asked us, hey, would this day work? And me, man, I'm if I get a 36 game schedule, I'm going to do it. We're not a club team. Yeah. We're not a club team. We're not. So, I mean, I think right now we ended the break 11-5, the Christmas break 11-5, and we've played Our Lady of the Lake twice. So we're what, into our 19th game?
Count at least once. I said I count the Lady of the Lake at least once. The other one was
Yeah, well, I mean, we have to supply our own adversity. I think that's a cool thing about us too. I mean, allowing ourselves to play against the Strength in Motion prep team, this On Point Academy from Oklahoma, and like in Our Lady of the Lake, we're supplying our own adversity. We're supplying, and I think that's the fun part of this job. Not a lot of people would take it because why? It's volunteer. So, I mean, but I get to do what I want in the sense that as long as it's within the rules and we get to supply ourselves with our own adversity. We went up to College Station, played against four Division One teams, four Division One teams, clubs, right? You got athletes that play varsity soccer on those teams, varsity water polo, varsity baseball. They're playing these sports and they're athletes. I'm talking about Division One style. They're recruited to these Division One style schools, SEC schools. If I'm going to add that, you had LSU, you had A&M College Station, University of Houston, Rice. So, on top of that, looking forward to this games tonight and tomorrow. I really believe that again, it's an opportunity to supply some more adversity because our end goal is to win that championship towards the end of this semester in the Texas Community College League. So that's our end goal, and the only way we're going to get there in the time frame that we've had to set this up is by playing the best. And again, strength in motion to me because of the athletes and the pure talent they have on these teams, man. If you've never been out there, they have some talented young athletes. These guys are going to sign somewhere. You go look at their page every couple of months, every month, I will say a month. These kids are getting signed to a D2, D3, D1 school. So again, like Greg said, foundation. What we are thinking light years ahead of time. So that's why it's like, when we're in these opportunities, these games for tonight and tomorrow, it's just supplying our own adversity. It's like you're not setting yourself up to fail. You're setting yourself up to challenge. And luckily for us, we're playing the game of basketball. So the worst case scenario is that there's a winner and a loser. We lose, we got to go back to the board. Look what we did wrong. We win. Yes, we're going to highlight what we did right to win, but we still do things wrong when we win. We know nobody's perfect. So I think, looking ahead into these games, it's like I love strength in motion. They always give us a challenge. We have one win over them too. So, nothing's impossible. Nothing's impossible. It's not like we've taken on these teams and we've got obliterated 100-4, or you know what I mean? Our Lady of the Lake, the losses we had, we lost by 15 to 10 points. We won by 10 points. Strength in motion, they've kind of got us the same, 15, 10-point average when they beat us. And then, we beat them at the buzzer. So, good challenges all the way around. That's what I look into expect for tonight and tomorrow, man. I don't remember this On Point Academy team. Never heard of them. So I can't really tell you what they're going to bring to the table, but you know what? They didn't travel down here to lose. I'll tell you, they didn't come to San Antonio from Oklahoma to just lose. I'll tell you that. So we have to be ready for that game tomorrow as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I'm ready to play.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I got fired up, man. I was like, all right.
As long as you're passing great. We'll
talk about it off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish I was able to do. Coach would have been to play, get a chance to play for you. That would have been quite a highlight to my college career. Fortunately, I kind of caught it at the tail end, but I'm enjoying the ride, enjoying the process. So, but Coach, you also had an announcement that you wanted to give.
Sorry. Yeah. To be quite honest, I can't remember what announcement I did. I think I know what you're talking about. You could message me on the side because I really don't remember what announcement, but I know, well, briefly, just what did it entail? I'm trying to think.
You wanted to, yeah. I think we spoke off screen. You had called
Parabon.
Yes.
Was it Sunday? Okay, yes. So for those of you that don't know, and it's not to put our business out there, my wife had some mental health complications. So we'll just say some health complications. And this past Sunday, I had really considered, dropping everything I was doing just to take care of my wife. because in my book, it's God first, of course. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ allows me to be here. He gives me my strength, whether it's mental or physical. Um, so God first, of course, for all things, and then it's my family. So right now, married, my wife comes first. My wife and my mom come first. And my wife had some health complications, and we're just, I was waiting out to see, and what was going to happen. A few days went by. Again, this was Sunday. We're at Friday now. And I spoke to my wife yesterday as well. I spoke to her again and this morning, and I said, um, if needed to, I'll drop this, at the drop of the dime. I'm not a slave to basketball, unfortunately. I'm not here against my will, right? I'm not here against my will. I choose to be here. See, you understand? It goes back to what we were talking about with the athletes. They choose to be here. You choose to be here. So my focus is on this. And sometimes the life of a coach, is very it's a lot of work. You work extra hours and you don't get paid for those hours. And imagine not getting paid for it already, and you're still doing this stuff. But I love doing it. I love the game. The game has given so much to me, from working with my bosses, Coach Dial there at All Lady of the Lake, working with kids from all around the world, working for the Spurs, meeting legends like Neville Shedd, and just meeting people I never thought I would ever meet. So, but Sunday I had called Parabron, and I had told him that I had really considered about retiring from the game of basketball because, again, my family comes first. So I spoke to my wife Monday, and I got to call her because, COVID and everything, you can't really just go in the hospital, right? So, and then, my wife was actually she got out of the hospital yesterday. I think that's when I called you, Marshall. You told me about this live interview, and I talked to her and I spoke with her, and we kind of we're driving, and I was like, if you don't want me, if you don't want me to do this, and it's not that you don't want me, if I need to spend this time with you and focus on you, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to drop everything. I'm willing to just be a student and take care of my wife and work my job with the basketball embassy. And I believe my wife, she loves me so much. I can't even explain, sometimes I try to put into perspective how someone can love me so much. So, I really came to the conclusion Sunday that I had planned to retire. And then it was about Tuesday when I spoke to my wife on the phone, and she told me and I'm just hoping she was being honest. And she told me no, you don't have to do that. So, she said, you love doing it. You have an opportunity. You never know when this opportunity, not a lot of people take this opportunity. And she says, this is what you love to do. And she says, and you're doing a great job. And, to hear that from my wife isn't a sports fanatic like me. I love my Spurs. My wife really loved the Spurs when Tony, Manu, and Tim, those are her favorite players. Yeah, see, so those are her favorite players. So my wife, I can sit down and watch football. She won't know what's going on, but we'll go to a Spurs game, and she's she's pretty funny too, because she looks at the score and she's like, they're up by 15 with 2 minutes left, right? And they're not coming back. And I said, not if they don't have Steph Curry, they're not coming back. If they have Steph Curry, that means the team has a pretty good chance of coming back, So no, there's the only announcement is that I'm here to stay, and I hope that's good enough because, like I said, man, it just gets to, it's everything, right? Anytime you try to live your life the way you want to, there's going to be challenges, but with more, it's more motivating. Nothing's more motivating than your wife having your back and helping you decide, right? Helping me decide, because we're a family. She helped me decide that, again, I'm here for that reason. Might as well just do it. I always like to consider myself the best, even though I don't know everything. You got to kind of look at it that way. I mean, I just do my best. So I'll just put it like that. I just do my best. I may not be the best, but I do my best to just, whatever that is, whatever that definition to people, to myself is so that's my announcement that I'm here to stay whatever years. The way I look at it, from what I understand, they're going to try to go NAIA and, Easter egg, bubble. Hope I'm not saying too much. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but, this is going to be like, it's the last episode of Jack Gibberish, right? The first and only episode. Yeah, the first and only episode of this. So it looks like, until whenever the year it is that they go NAIA, whenever they decide to make basketball the focus there, I'll be there. I have a lot of great people messaging me about the future, a lot of people interested in the program. And I just hope that, and I prayed and hope that that's because we're doing something right. I still don't have a coaching staff. I have a couple of guys that come out and volunteer. They do the book. Mr. Tavion Frazier, I want to shout him out. I appreciate your help. And Mr. Jose Ravago, I appreciate you two boys, because y'all two are always there. Even sickness, you'll text me, Coach, I won't be there, but, once I get my test or whatever, once I'm feeling good, I'll be back. And also I've had, a couple other students that have attempted to coach with me. But of course, like we know, like you said, Marshall, this is a commitment, and these boys have to worry about their school, their grades. And again, like we said, if it puts you in jeopardy to not become a great student, then you shouldn't be here playing. You should, put your focus in your scholars, you should put your focus in your academics. So if, people didn't know, guess what? There's only one coach. So, there's only one coach. Sometimes at practice, we didn't even have a water jug, hint, hint, come on, get us some water. We're practicing 110-degree weather heat. We don't even have a trainer, so, it's just, it comes with the territory. But like I said, we provide our own adversity. And when you're down by 5 points with 1 minute and 45 seconds and you need to make a stop, it's something good to remind the boys, hey, we run 30 minutes in 100-degree weather heat. These guys run in a gym. You're telling me you can't do it for another minute and 30? So, yeah, it works. Everything works out.
On behalf of us and Jag Nation, we prayers out to your situation, but we're grateful that you're able to continue coaching and look forward to the future. And thank you for being with us,
sir.
Yes, appreciate it, Greg. Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Prayers out to both your family, you and your wife, and definitely excited that you will be staying with us.
We got you now.
Yeah.
Now we're locked in.
I'm
gonna be like James Harden. I'm gonna sit out. And like, who was it? Was it Charles Barkley? Got good, man. I was like, that was so cold, man. But you know what?
That was funny.
Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen would have a beer and a cigar after their game. And they played every game they could. Yeah, there was no holdout or, let me wait and see what position, are we the 8th seed? I'm the greatest of all time and I could sit out as much as I don't want to get into that debate. We could always have a discussion about that. Just it's up here, man. It's always, and it will always be up here. And I get it. You want to sell a product. I guess the product we're just trying to sell here is that, we're not jokes. We're not here to joke around. To Marshall's point, there is that player. And he made, he did make that comment, and he did say like, oh, there's not that much comp here. And I took that personal, because these students I've been working with for about a year already. And when you say that, and when Raul Saldivar Jr., when my 10th guy comes out and shuts you down at an open run, you need to kind of humble yourself and reframe that comment you made. And you have to kind of put yourself in, like, maybe I'm just not that good, and there is something going on here. So, so no, it's humbling to see that. And again, I don't want to say sky's the limit, but we just want to keep going up. That's all we want to do.
In summary, coach and the Jags want all the smoke.
Yeah,
Yep.
we do.
We want it all.
We do.
We're not
Coach
shying away
went.
from competition.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Coach went straight. MJ said, and I took that personally.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I really did. You know,
Last
when these boys are here for a reason at this program. I could easily, oh man, I could easily sit down and criticize people on what they don't do right, but that's not why I'm a coach, right? I'm here. I'm here as a coach to develop you as a student of the game of basketball, also to kind of help you keep straight on that straight path of life. Just that's what coaches are supposed to be for. When we lose, it's our fault, right? When we lose, it's our fault. When we win, it's the players. But I really could care less. I could really care less about who's to blame. I mean, the blame's going to always be on me, and it's fine. 20 years from now, I said this, 20 years from now, we might not be remembered, though, when our players go back, if they graduate, hopefully they graduate from A&M, and when they see that beautiful $10 billion, $1 billion, whatever, $100,000 arena, whatever they use to build that, and they take their kids to watch games, they'll remember what happened, and they could tell their kids that joke, and maybe their kids might be better than them. So it's about what you leave behind, and it's about the impression you put. I mean, last time I checked, and no shade, but we're the only team to beat Our Lady of the Lake. So, yeah. I mean,
talk that talk, coach. Talk that talk.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the facts. Go look at the scoreboard. It's on the scoreboard. Like, is that what the kids say nowadays? Scoreboard. They do that. I mean, step it up, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to step it up. So
they'll remember the day they had to pay.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what it is. I do have a lot more to get off my chest, but it's not. This isn't what it is for. We are ultimately Texas A&M San Antonio, and that's what I think people need to recognize. I could suggest it. It kind of goes back to the saying that if you know something and you continue to fight against it, and you continue to not want to be aware that you might be wrong or your perspective might be wrong, it's called ignorance, guys. And that does not make the world go around,
Ooh, got some bars.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you asked me for them in the beginning, right? You said Coach might drop some bars. So, I mean, yeah, it comes full circle. The universe unravels as it should. And, that's where we're at now. We're about to take on TSAC in the next couple of weeks. We play tonight and tomorrow, and then we have a bye week this week. Looking forward to it. And then we start the following week. I believe we have – what's next week? The 16th. And we have 2 games that following week. We got our last game against Our Lady of the Lake on the 22nd. And then we have our first ever – let me say that again – our first ever home game in our own gym. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. First game, home game against San Antonio College.
Sack.
So, yeah. So, I mean –
Exactly.
yeah. I come up with clever nicknames like that too, so that was good. So yeah, I mean, a lot of firsts going on here. First team to go travel to Texas A&M College Station. First team to beat LSU. First team to beat Texas A&M. First team to beat University of Houston. First team to beat Rice. And just to let you know, first team to go to NERSA National League in March. We're going to be playing nationally. So yeah, tell me what we can't do.
Absolutely. We're gonna have a updated schedule for everybody very soon. If you haven't, for everybody watching, everybody should be subscribed, but go check out if I can bring that thing up there. As usual. Follow us on Tamusa.
I do like this website. B-ball. This website's pretty cool. This StreamYard. This is pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, it definitely is.
We out
definitely
here.
Feels like
shout them out too. Got to shout them out too, right? StreamYard represent, man.
Yeah, StreamYard.
Respect.
Yeah,
send us that check.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah, one day, right? That's what we want it to be one day.
Yeah, absolutely. G Money, I call you G Money.
We do a podcast. That's kind of the name. That's right.
Right.
Let's go Jags.
Yeah, let's go Jags. Greg, Any comments from you, man? It's on you.
Anything, Greg? You're
Man,
good, man.
I was going into this. We're on, talk our lay of the lake, and I just had so many questions from the first time meeting you,
Yeah,
and going over the process of starting from the ground zero. The foundation. We've kind of seen it with UTSA,
yeah.
kind of how they built their program up, and I was just curious. And you hit on not only the game, but you also hit on that process. I mean, you answered a lot of my questions that I had for you. Just looking forward to the future of the games, looking forward to the future of the season, in the short term, and then in the long term, the future of the program. And I'm just very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful for everybody that's watching this right now, or watching this on repeat, or is in the chat right now. We need to grow this. We need to grow the family, and we need to really support one another, because that's, at the end of the day, that's how we're going to make it.
Right.
Is from support from everybody on everything. So just very much appreciative, Coach. And
Sir.
Yeah,
Greg, you have nothing, Greg. I doubt that. There has to be one question. I know there's one or two that right now you want answered, and right now, because I have a few more minutes still, I can grant you that.
Okay.
Pick my brain.
What is the
That's fine.
strength and weakness of this team so far you've seen?
Okay.
Over the couple games you've put together.
So we'll start with our weakness. Our weakness is that I believe as a team we fail to understand where we're at in this period of time. You're speaking to a modern day Jedi, right? We fail to live in the moment. We tend to look into the future. We tend to look to the past of what happened, and we tell
Anakin.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be like that. Just always the future, always the future, always the future. Nobody knows. That's our weakness. Living right now in this present moment, and it's actually the conversation, the talk I had with them prior to our late game. I texted my team leaders, and I asked them, "Where's your focus? Where is it?" Because usually wherever it's at, it's supposed to be where you're at. Your focus 30 minutes before pregame should be 30 minutes before pregame, not, what you're going to do after, or not what you're going to do, because guess what? When you're in the game, now you don't have time to think about it. Now you're just there in that present moment, be like baseball. Pitch, you got 3 strikes, you're here, you're there. That's you and the ball, same thing. I believe sometimes, we show inconsistency, and that's our weakness. We show inconsistency of our focus in the moment, because we don't want to be those guys. We don't want to be those men. Let me say that. Let me say that so clear. We don't want to be those men where we grow up to be 60, 50 years old, still wearing our Letterman jackets. We don't want to be like, oh man, when I was in high school, I did this, dude, leave that back there in high school. We want to be those men that when we're there in the moment, we made the best of our opportunity. So life's about opportunity. So I believe that's our weakness right now. And that's because we're still young. And that's the cool thing about knowing that, is that that's the answer. These guys are still, figuring themselves out. They're still learning what they want to do in life. And that's what makes college so fun. That's what makes life so fun. You're there to find yourself, right? So they say.
Big developmental time in your life.
Yes. So that just inconsistency of our focus, that's our weakness. And then it just really to that, and that right now we're in that. So it's making it a little bit more difficult for the individuals that have that potential to step up. It's making it a little bit harder for them to say, hey, you know what? Boom. Some people got it. Some people will go in there. I got this, stand out the way. Some people, it takes time to warm it up, but at least the light bulb's there, at least the seed's been planted. They're going to be really well. I'm looking towards this league. We're going to look really well towards that. And then it actually takes me into our strengths. Our strength is that the only way we could go is up. And I quote that from the Great Gatsby. He looks at the shooting star and he's like, I got to be like that shooting star. We got to go up. And that's our strength. We're not, athletics. So we have all the time in the world. That's the fun thing. All you have to do is have a 2.0 GPA, take 9 hours, and you have a coach that's willing to give you everything that he's ever learned. And that's our greatest strength. We have the power to set our own standards. So for those that set their standards higher, guess what? They're going to receive more from it. And those that continue to just cruise and stay under the radar, guess what? There's going to be more people next year, They might take their spot. So that's our greatest strength, is that we're going to still go up. Just want everybody to be on the ride with us. So yeah.
For sure. And kind of picking off, you brought over your team leaders, texting your team leaders. And I know you've mentioned Parabon Hawkins as somebody that stepped up in that leadership role. Who else has kind of emerged as a leader or looked to as a leader that you lean on?
So Parabon does a lot outside of basketball too. And I believe stepping up as a leader, I have Nicholas Vance, who's still very young, a gentleman who transferred last semester from Schreiner University. So he did have the opportunity to play up there, and he's still on that path. Like, he's one of the guys that we just talked about that's like figuring out his, where his path is leading. But Nicholas Vans would be the next one I could think of. After him, well, kind of, I don't want to give them 1, 2, 3, right? Don't want to rank them because they're all there. Jaden Campos, he's probably he's our big man, though he's not, because 6'6" in the real world of basketball, that's not, you're a guard, you're a shooting guard, now a point guard. And then Amari Bailey, a young man who actually got recruited to play football at the University of UTPB, University of Texas Permian Basin, right? Did I say that right? UTPB. Yeah. So he's making the transition of being a wide receiver into a basketball player. And just by his focus, he was able to, I remember challenging him when he first came into tryouts. He was he was a high flyer. He was very acrobatic. He could kind of switch in midair. And, I kind of told him, I said, hey, that's nice, but what happens when the defense puts a guy your size in front of you? What are you going to do? Are you just going to rely? You can't just run people over, right? You get a foul call, right? And if you notice throughout his process, his game has changed. Now he's developed a real good shooting. He's a real good shooter now. He's been one to take big shots now. And then those three really, and then, Parabon, those, and then, like I said, like Raul Saldivar Jr., who's been here, Jeffrey Williams, who's been here since, I want to say 2019. And actually Jeffrey called me at the end of the game. He's like, Coach, am I, fulfilling my role? I said, Jeff, like, you were here when this program was at its, I don't want to dog it because it wasn't really bad, but it was really in its newborn stage. We'll say that. It was in its newborn stage. They were learning how to walk, or they were learning how to crawl. They're in the newborn stage. They're learning how to crawl. Now we're walking. Now we're taking strides. So those guys who really have been able to say, hey, like Raul Saldivar Jr., who's like, hey, I may not be the most talented. I have talent. My job is to make sure that these younger guys, the ones that are just coming in, work hard, just as hard. And it's those practices are fun because that's those practices where you get people jawing and pure intensity and emotion. And it's like, nah, man, yeah, you can do this and that, but you know what? You got to do it every time. You got to show me every time. So yeah, those I could say those 5. Did I mention 5, 6 with Parabon? It's a really good group. Again, we're gonna miss Parabon next year, but my goal for him, we had a conversation, and I told him, I think you get excited and you're like, man, this team's going in directions, but your goal is to graduate. Unless you're an NBA prospect and you're like, okay, like Shaquille O'Neal that can go and come back to college and graduate, go play in the NBA. But a lot of reality is that there's out of all these, what do we have, 13 players? Out of these 13 players right now, there's and just to be quite honest, because I'm a realist too, about maybe 4 or 5 have the real potential to go play somewhere. And what I mean by somewhere, I mean NAIA, JUCO, like those levels. Because you have junior college, and then you have NAIA, then you have NCAA, and that's that too. And then 2 out of those guys came from NCAA schools, Division II and Division III. So I mean, on top of those 5 that can go play somewhere, 2 or 3 of them out of those 5 can actually go play back at that NCAA level, or NAIA Division I level. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no questions myself, Coach. We're looking forward to tonight's game. For everybody that wants to watch it, we'll be streaming here on StreamYard, which will go straight to YouTube. So y'all check the game out. Starts at 6:30.
6:30. Yep.
We will be on around, let's say 6:10, 6:15, depending on the setup. So
get your popcorn, get your drinks,
get your popcorn, get your
yeah,
get your popcorn ready.
And watch the game with us.
Watch the game with us. Greg and I will be
on the 1s and 2s.
Yep, calling the game. So
I haven't watched the whole game, but the few minutes I watched, probably like the first 10 minutes, it was entertaining. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all gonna have to come up with like y'all's own slogan or catchphrase, like Marv Albert, bang. That's what y'all gonna have to do.
Yeah, I when Parabron hit a 3 early on.
You love it when Parabron does something, don't you, Marshall? See, Sean Elliott at its finest right there. See, you know what I mean? He's like, Parabron Hawkins with a layup. Oh, he missed. You get low on your volume. You get all low on your volume and stuff. And I'm like, God, I love Marshall to death, man. But that's good. We need that. We need that.
You need people that are invested.
Yeah, we need people that are invested. And it's just, I think Michael Jackson said it's all love. That's what it is. It's nothing wrong with that. I think nowadays we're so told like not to act this way. Nah, man, Marshall loves seeing his friend do what he does, Marshall loves seeing the school prosper. Greg loves seeing the school prosper. I mean, come on, guys, things would just move a lot smoother, like you said, when we support each other and when
that's right.
We're out there at the softball game, and man, I love baseball and softball. My dad played both. My dad played professionally, semi-professionally baseball, and I love going out there on a beautiful day like today and watching some softball. And I think those girls play today too. They're playing at Our Lady of the Lake. They're playing so they're playing. I don't know who they're playing, but I just saw it on the Twitter. I said, if we didn't have a game, we'd be out there supporting them, Right. So, I mean, yeah. So, man, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I told him when I came up with the slogan when he hit a 3, I said, "Man, that's a Hawkins 3," and I said,
oh yeah.
So I have to quit doing that.
You're good. I don't think that was the last game, right? Because he didn't hit that much last game. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, if anything, he got lucky hitting the backboard. But no, I'm just kidding. I love Parabron. He's, like I said, he's my senior team captain, and he's probably mad that I'm talking like that right now. But it's all love. Parabron knows. He's come a long way, and I believe a lot of hard work is coming. Parabron secured our home gym. So if you didn't know that, Parabron was really what's the word they use? The catalyst. He was that guy in between the lines who really communicated with Central Med, which is over there on Commercial. It's not a great stadium, but it's a great gym, and they have stands in there, and they have beautiful glass backboards, beautiful court. He also secured that as a second practice spot, because if the viewers didn't know, we were only practicing one day inside at Mission Sports Complex, Mission Conception, and it was just Thursday. So now, because of Parabron, like I said, he's done a lot of hard work. We practice at least 4 or 3 times inside a gym a week now. Or actually, we practice every day inside a gym. Him and one of our parents actually owns a gym. and he allows us to practice there. Yeah, it may be a little drive away from school, but man, and sometimes I think, is that a good thing? And then I look at our jump shots and I'm like, man, it's a good thing, because practicing outside in that wind and 40-degree weather heat, like, yeah, you can't beat that inside a gym. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we thank you for being on with us. This is the recap, the first episode of Jaguar Gibberish. We'll do these after every game. We'll try to do it either the day after, right after, something like that. And we'll
just not on Sunday.
Yeah, just not on Sunday.
Yeah, just not on Sunday. I'm off on Sundays. That's my day to rest. I don't watch basketball on Sundays. I'm just like this. Sleep. Yeah. No problem. I can't wait till we start you start wearing your Cowboys gear like Stephen A. You start wearing your Cowboys gear, and then start coming off as Skip Bayless, showing off your Jordans every day and stuff like that, and Shannon Sharping it. So yeah.
As much as I love being a Spurs fan, man, the Cowboys really balance it out.
Yeah, that's true. I can't get ahead of myself too much with the Cowboys, so it's like,
just like, oh, come on, guys, one time, let's get together.
They asked me, who's your NFL team, Coach? I'm like, I just watch it. I don't like nobody anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch the Cowboys, but once I start getting too invested into them, I mean, they lose, and I'm like, oh, this is why I don't cheer for them. Sorry, I love them to death. That's my team. Born and raised a Cowboys fan, same thing. But now the Spurs, I'll win and lose with the Spurs. It's just a different feel,
So many 2 decades plus of just excellence and success. It's just been a model, not only in basketball but across sports.
And you think
it's been beautiful and being a part of it in San Antonio is crazy. Like, that's
exactly the point I was going to say. And you think what the city has been able, and how the city's been able to flourish with the sport, just because of a sport, right?
Yeah.
See, so I mean, those Spurs is my team. And Coach Pop, one of my favorite coaches. Coach Valvano was probably my favorite coach from the North Carolina State. Coach V, because I think, like he said, if you what did he say? If you laugh and you cry in a day, he's like, that's a full day. And if you think about it, people usually that are successful, they do a lot of thinking, they do a lot of laughing, and they do a lot of crying. So I mean, so it's been good. I appreciate y'all having me, man. I didn't think we were gonna go this long, but you know what? If that's what it is, it's a good segment. I mean, I appreciate what y'all are doing. I appreciate y'all commentating. I would have never thought, trust me, from last March, I would have never thought that this would be this far and how it's going. But I appreciate people like you two, and especially all our supporters. I really want to shout them out. I mean, we wouldn't be nowhere with, our council of supporters. We have a council of supporters now. I am going to shout out Taco Haven, down Southtown, family-owned restaurant. Yeah, I mean, I've known them my whole life. And they're looking to be one of our sponsors, alongside of multiple different sponsors I don't want to name until they've just come to a decision. But I know Taco Haven's ready to help us out, and just on top of that, I appreciate everybody that supports Texas A&M San Antonio. And if you haven't come watch us play, come watch us. We don't sit down in a 2-3 zone and just go back and forth. We don't just hold the ball. No, we're playing basketball. And we're playing against some pretty darn good players tonight. If you don't believe me, go out tonight. Strength in Motion always has some great players. Like I said, within a month, half of those guys are going to receive another scholarship. Yeah, you heard me right, another scholarship. So yeah, man, just a bunch of class act guys, coaches, players, and I mean, just a bunch of talent. There's a lot of talent in basketball everywhere. You don't understand. Nowadays you're like living in the golden age of sports. Pretty much. You have so many good, talented kids and men, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just crazy. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be a part of this process, and just looking forward to the rest.
Absolutely. And y'all were talking about the Spurs. So also, if y'all want to check out a show about the Spurs, man, you gotta check out
okay.
Spurs versus everybody. You know what I mean?
We out here.
Featuring yours
Is that y'all?
truly.
Mhm.
Featuring yours
yeah?
truly. I got Greg and myself. Spurs versus everybody. Twitter, Instagram. Are we on YouTube?
Facebook?
We're about to use this, this program and be out
Yeah.
there on YouTube. Definitely broadcast the show better because it's definitely a good format and definitely has a lot of tools to better extenuate our things.
Yep. And that's just the Spurs. Also, if you like all sports, check us out on the other show, Stats versus Facts Sports Talk at SVF Sports Talk.
Yeah, I'm aware of that one.
And
I'm aware of that one. I know you post that, Marshall. You post that one.
Right.
Well, also, I'll shout out my basketball family real quick at the end. I want to shout out the Basketball Embassy. They also have a podcast on Apple and Spotify. It's not iTunes anymore, right? It's not. It's not iTunes anymore. That's old school. iTunes.
They still have Apple. Well, I guess it's Apple.
Apple Music. Apple Music Podcast. So it's on Apple Podcasts and it's on Spotify. Have a lot of wonderful special guests on there. If you're just trying to pick your brain with basketball, a lot of overseas coaches. I know my mentor Don Showalter, head of USA Basketball, was on there, and he had some pretty good segments, especially for USA Youth. And I believe under the 19 years or 9, I don't remember, 10 years, he was in charge of USA Basketball. They won gold every year. So that's a good one to listen to. So yeah, just wanted to shout them out. I cannot, forget the people. Y'all probably hear my pets running around. They're like, we've been sitting around long enough, Dad, and whatever. So, yeah, it's cool. But yeah,
what was the name again? One more time.
What's that?
What was the name of it? One more time.
The basketball. It's called the Basketball Embassy, but it's called the United We Hoop podcast.
Okay, United We
Hoop.
Sir. Okay,
yes,
definitely got to check that one out.
Yeah,
definitely love hearing about just learning more about sports. Like you said, that we all don't know everything, and we're always got thirst for knowledge and any resources like that.
Well, for your Spurs one, it'd be good too because we had RC Buford on it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had RC Buford on it. We had the head of Swedish basketball, the head of Kosovo basketball, and Kosovo's had a lot of good players, Latvian players like Davis Bertans, Seti Osman, those guys. So yeah, just feel free to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Try to trade for Seti Osman.
And again, it's the United We Hoop podcast.
Yes.
All righty. Well, we've been on long enough. I know you're all tired of hearing us because you'll hear us talk later.
Yeah.
So, everybody,
about first take time, right? If you add commercials, right? It's about first take time. It's not bad.
First episode we had, we go over the game, trying to get to know you, get to know everybody. It was just jam packed with a bunch of things to go over.
That's cool.
Yeah,
well, it was a pleasure to be a part of the first episode. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Sir. We thank you, Coach, and that'll do it for Mr. Greg Castillo and Coach Eric Leon. It's been your man Marshall Best, and we will catch y'all on the next episode. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you tonight, 6:30. Make sure tune in about 6:10, 6:15, and we'll be on YouTube.
Go Jags.
Go Jags.
Yep,
Go Jags.
Go Jags.
Thanks, guys.